A good evening to you all, and thank you for joining us here on Rwanda Television News. Our hope is that you had yourselves a productive Tuesday. Now here's a sneak peek at our edition tonight. Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo have committed to establishing a military oversight body tasked with monitoring the August 2024 ceasefire agreement, which calls for a halt to hostilities in eastern Congo. Members of the East African Legislative Assembly have rejected a report from the committee responsible for regional issues and conflicts due to certain political aspects, including within it, particularly the issue between Rwanda and Burundi. On the international scale, Zimbabweans in the U.S. state of Texas have been speaking of the elections in that country and their expectations. Once again, we're glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and my name is Martina Abera. Let us kick things off by informing you that Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo have committed to establishing a military oversight body tasked with monitoring the August 2024 ceasefire agreement, which calls for a halt to hostilities in eastern Congo. The oversight body comprises 18 soldiers from Angola, 3 from Rwanda, and 3 from the DRC. This decision was made in Goma during a meeting that brought together the foreign affairs ministers of the DRC, Rwanda, and Angola. Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, expressed that based on the discussions between both sides, there is hope for restoring security in eastern DRC. This oversight body was established after fighting resumed in the past 2 weeks between M23 and FARDC, along with their allies, the FDLR and Wazalendo. Fighting is currently ongoing in the Masisi territory, North Kivu. The decision to cease hostilities was made during talks between representatives of the DRC, Angola, and Rwanda, held in Rwanda on the 30th of July 2024. The Rwanda agreement called on both sides to stop the fighting as of August 4th, 2024. Women from countries around the world where genocide, other killings, and crimes against humanity continue to take place were deeply moved by the testimony of survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. They shared their journey towards unity and reconciliation over the past 30 years since the genocide ended. We have more on this story through Enora Gladys.
The testimony of Muhongayire Maria, a mother who survived the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, was one of those that touched hearts and raised the pain of women from countries where genocide, killings, and crimes against humanity are still happening daily. Muhongayire Maria, in addition to losing her family members, was left with the HIV virus after being raped by the killers. The diseases I contracted from there, such as HIV, I wasn't expecting, and the mental health problems, I currently take medicine at Ndera Hospital. Every time I take my medicines, I remember what caused these issues. However, after taking my medicine and feeling better, I try to stay strong. This mother, who appears calm in her speech and physical demeanor, now shares meals with Rutogoza Leonard, one of the perpetrators of the genocide who killed her brother. Despite this painful history, they live peacefully together after sharing the truth of what happened. One asks for forgiveness, the other grants it without hesitation.
When we remember how we mistreated our neighbors in the past and we see how we are now, and when we have a conversation with them and they have a crisis because of what happened to them, we are careful not to hurt them again. We are always careful with them, but they don't make us angry either. We can have normal conversations with them as neighbors.
Muhongayire Maria's testimony deeply impacted Kebef from Liberia and Falena from Cambodia, countries that share similar history with Rwanda. Both were amazed by the progress Rwanda has made in prompting unity and reconciliation. The progress Rwanda has made in addressing the consequences of the genocide is highly praised by Madame Alice Wairimu Nderitu, the United Nations Secretary General's Special Advisor on the Prevention of Genocide. Alice Wairimu Nderitu assured Rwanda of continued cooperation to ensure justice is served.
Our action as UN, I've called them out, like personally, as Special Advisor for Prevention of Genocide, I have written to them calling them out. I know that the IRMCT, the International Residual Mechanism for Criminal Tribunals, has written to them like proper letters, formal letters, saying, yes, to the countries, saying these people, they are living in your country, they are living free lives, and they are wanted, they are indicted for this crime of genocide. And we do know that the countries have a lot of leeway in terms of surrendering these people. But at the same time, we've seen action that is being taken. In some countries, they've been taken to court. In some countries, they've been convicted. So the key thing is for us to be relentless, not to stop, to keep on saying over and over again that these people have to be brought to account. We have to keep saying over and over again.
Today marks the second day of this conference in Rwanda, which brings together women from countries affected by genocide, killings, and crimes against humanity. The meeting focuses on how to tackle the ongoing issues of human rights violations, including genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes, and hate speech, with the goal of ending these ideologies. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Enora, for that report. Members of the East African Legislative Assembly have rejected a report from the committee responsible for regional issues and conflicts due to certain political aspects included within it, particularly the issues between Rwanda and Burundi. Our colleague Edi Sabiti is in Kampala, where the Assembly is gathered.
Now, this report was carried out between 16th and 21st September 2024. Initially, this report had main objectives. Among others, we have establishing the level of collaboration between the mandated institutions in police and security agencies, fostering crime crackdown, establishing the nature trade of crime that is prevalent within the region, to assess East African Community security agencies in fostering peace and security, to understand some of the issues that these agencies are dealing with on a daily basis, and of course do a proper follow-up. Now, surprisingly, some of the pages in the report came about the issue between Rwanda and Burundi concerning the closure of borders on the side of Burundi. So immediately, some of the members, the likes of Honorable Ambassador Matthias or Honorable Ambassador Fatuma Ndangiza from Rwanda, stood up and made a point that this should not be and was not supposed to be in this report, as the initial mandate, the initial objectives were completely different, as we can watch them in this short clip.
Right Honorable Speaker, no single border, be air or land between Rwanda, with our partner states, our bordering state is closed. So we have never closed any single border. That is one. Second, Right Honorable Speaker, on Monday 9th, July 2024, ESC ministers have gathered in Zanzibar for their retreat, and their commitment was to tackle this issue, and so far we have no report from them. So I found no reason to push them for further exercises while we don't have their already concluded decision.
Rwanda did not retaliate. Rwanda never reciprocated in closing borders, and today our borders are open for Burundi citizens because we consider them as our neighbors, as citizens of East African community, and Rwanda respects its obligations with regard to East African common market, the free movement of people and goods. We are open to business, we are open to free movement, and they are free to come to our country. But as Burundi, they did it intentionally, and Rwanda cannot be a scapegoat. So finally, I requested that it is allegations, serious and founded allegations, which have to be denounced by the Assembly, because the Assembly is a house of rules. It's a house of evidence. Whoever wrote that, who smuggled those paragraphs in the report, there is no evidence, and Rwanda was not consulted in any way.
Are you happy, or were you
And
satisfied
the good thing,
of the decision of the Assembly?
Yes, I was satisfied, because at the end of the day, even members of this committee stood up, including members from Burundi, saying that they were surprised to find this part of the content in the report, because it was never discussed and it was outside the mandate of the committee, because matters of partner states, interstate conflicts or intrastate conflicts, there are specific forums at the level of the ministers, sectoral committee on defense and security affairs, but we also have the summit of heads of state. That is where they are referred. But even if they were to be discussed within the Assembly, they have to be contextualized. There should be evidence. You cannot be discussing centers of excellence and you bring in the issue of the border closure alleging Rwanda. And I was happy that at the end of the day, the Assembly decided that this report be returned to the committee to go back and work on the report, focus on the objectives, and remove those contentious parts, and then that is when it can be debated in the Assembly.
Apart from the two members from Rwanda, the Speaker himself made it clear that as it was for the issue of DRC a few months ago, members of the Parliament of East Africa have to understand that some matters have to be debated elsewhere. They have to be tackled elsewhere and not to be brought in this assembly, as he was saying a while ago.
In this house, as we agreed, this house will never debate political matters. Now, Burundi members should also raise issues as Rwanda has done. As we did, as even before, we have been avoiding this DRC and Rwanda issues the matters. Do you remember that? Yes. All of these issues which are now handled by our ministers, our government, they should not come here and divide us. We will remain united, we remain one.
In conclusion, this report was brought back to this committee, and they were requested to go and rework on this report, and then come submit this report focusing on the initial mission that was given to the members, and try to avoid any political matter that is being discussed at different levels, executive or at the level of Council of Ministers of EAC. Edi Sabiti, Kampala, Uganda.
Thank you, Eddie Sabiti, for that report. Now, the Ministry of Infrastructure has announced that construction of the Nyabarongo hydro plant is nearly 40% complete. The plant is expected to generate 43.5 megawatts of electricity. The hydropower station is being built in a marshland located between the hills of Gachenye, Rurindo, and Kamonyi districts along the Nyabarongo River.
This section is the part for the turbine area. As you can see, there are 3 of them, and from the penstock you have 3 branches here. One of them will be generating 14.5 megawatt, and in total, as you know, is 43.5 megawatts. So it's a turbine coupled with generator, and then top we'll have transformer that will be stepping up from generating value of 11 kV to 110 kV.
Jobs for over 320 locals who are employed daily and receive wages. Construction has begun on all parts of the facility, including the sections where the power generating turbines will be installed. The State Minister in the Ministry of Infrastructure, Kabera Olivier, explained that the construction of this plant, along with other energy projects, is part of the plan to achieve 100% electricity access across Rwanda within the next 5 years. Construction of the second Nyabarongo hydropower plant began in 2022 and is set to be completed by 2026 with a total investment of over $214 million, equivalent to more than 220 billion Rwandan francs. Scientists have stated that there are still challenges that prevent many women from entering the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, also known as STEM, mainly due to the traditional mindsets in families where some believe that certain jobs are meant for women and others for men. This was discussed at the Africa Conference of Women Engineers and Scientists held in Kigali, Rwanda. Enora Gladys with more.
Women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for sustainable development of Africa is the theme of this conference. Chirinyana Marie Chantal, the head of the Rwandan Association of Women in Science and Engineering, briefly stated that the goal of this conference is to discuss the challenges facing Africa and to explore how the research conducted by women can help to solve these problems.
Aho ubushakashatsi bw'umwana w'umukobwa cyangwa bw'umudamu bugeze.
This conference aims to assess where the research of girls or women has progressed so far, because we recognize that it's a big challenge. As you've seen from the statistics, we still have a long way to go. Currently, women make up 31% of researchers, and we all know that Rwanda aims to achieve sustainable development by 2050, which will be based on strong research. To reach this goal, research is crucial, particularly in science and engineering, as they play a major role in solving the problems faced by the world and Rwanda.
Science and engineering. Kuko science and engineering niyo ikemura ibibazo byugarije isi cyane cyane byo mu Rwanda.
Dr. Victoria Kondiakara, an expert in climate science and environmental studies, is one of the participants in this conference. She mentioned that one of the main barriers preventing women and girls from entering science is the societal belief that certain professions are only for men. Different participants discussed what could be done to enhance the capacity of women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Some suggestions included increasing opportunities in education, changing parental mindsets about what is appropriate for girls and boys, and especially involving men to support women in this endeavor, as it is believed that without men's participation, this struggle cannot be fully achieved.
I believe because the fight cannot be won by women alone. Because women are our mothers, women are our daughters, and we see it's like when we let women fight alone, men always misinterpret the message. So sometimes it is important that men also understand the perspective of the women, especially when it comes to the STEM field, and so that they can also be able to assist them in the fight. Because so far, the message that gender in STEM has always been, the way it has been received by men out there, it has been more like adversarial. Like women want more of this, women want more of this, women want more of that. But then that one should not be the case, because Men come from traditions, cultures, and stereotypes that they may not know. That is why I was talking about unconscious bias. They don't know that they are biased against the information they receive, and because they receive a lot of information, it ends up being like an echo chamber of misinformation. So they misunderstand the women, they misrepresent the women. Hence, there is a reason why, like, the man also must come in and join into the fight by understanding the plight and the cause of women when it comes to STEM courses.
To address what the United Nations has spotted, as in that lack of participation of women in all areas of science and engineering. It is very important for us to be able to share stories globally about what works and what doesn't in terms of making sure that we get full participation. And there's lots to learn between countries, between continents. So I'm here supporting my sisters here in the African Regional Network, but I also, and they also visit conferences across the world where we talk about some of these issues, and we also talk to men about some of these issues. So another element of the solution is making sure that we grow these networks and we grow collaboration and chances to talk to people about how to change things for the future.
The Africa Conference of Women Engineers and Scientists took place in Kigali, Rwanda, from November 5th to 7th. It brought together women experts in science and engineering from 14 African countries. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Prime Energy, developed hydropower producer, has broken new ground in Rwanda's capital market with the listing of its green bond on the Rwanda Stock Exchange. This historic green bond, which raised 9.5 billion Rwandan francs, marks a significant stride in Rwanda's journey toward a sustainable, eco-friendly investment landscape. Saula Sandra Tumukunde has a report.
A glowing global trend, Pierre Celestin Wavkumba, CEO of the Rwanda Stock Exchange, remarked that investors are increasingly looking toward greener investment, and this bond is a testament to that shift. The bond's listing also opens opportunities for those who missed the primary issuance, as the bond is now tradable on the RSE's secondary market.
I think right now what is happening, the company has just raised the first corporate bond, green bond actually. It's the first really green bond in our market in Rwanda, more importantly from an SME market segment. So I'm an SME company. So Prime Energy is a company in the energy sector which produces its energy from water sources. That means they are safeguarding the environment. So the proceeds that they are going to use, they have raised, are going to be invested in greening their environment, you know, where they operate from. So you see how things are happening nowadays. There's a lot of issues which have to do with the environment. We have to safeguard it. But now also investments and investors are demanding that nowadays. So people are going towards greener investments, and this one is one of them.
Stephen Biganiro, the Director General in charge of capital market and investment schemes at the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, explains that the growing demand for these treasury bonds is a positive indicator for the country's economy, especially for a sustainable development project.
I think, as the State Minister said, first of all, we are in the process of coming up with the taxonomy that will be like the Bible or the guidance. And this has quite a number of guidance, but specifically also giving directives. And these are directives that have involved different partners, including investors that have given in their inputs. And this is coming as something that is, favoring and loosening the requirements for new investors, and this is one of the great contributions. We have also issued the directive, which also has quite a number of incentives, specifically also having in place awareness campaigns and education, which will contribute, to more investors and people understanding what green bond is and how it is coming to contribute to our great economy.
Looking forward, both the London Stock Exchange and Primary Energy see this green bond as a cornerstone for Rwanda's sustainable financial future. It is seen as paving the way toward creating a greener and more sustainable future, as this greener bond is expected to inspire further eco-friendly financial ventures in Rwanda. This landmark listing positions Rwanda as a leader in the regional green finance movement and sets a high standard for future sustainable investment. Saula Sandra Tumkund, RTV News.
Rwanda has inaugurated a state-of-the-art robotics laboratory worth 100 million Rwandan francs aimed at advancing knowledge in robotics technology. We have more of this report.
A study conducted last year indicated that if Rwanda invests $77 million over 5 years, the country could gain $500 million, equivalent to 6% of its gross domestic product. Establishing this advanced laboratory, launched publicly in Kigali, marks a step forward that goal. Students at the school where it's located are looking forward to it, enhancing their knowledge.
There's so many fancy and expensive machines, some of which we haven't even started using, but these two that we have already started using are going to help us in the future to understand how we can make something useful. Just like even if you own a 3D printer on your own, you can make something even in your home if you want to. And the laser cutter is very precise and can make decorations and many other things.
The laboratory we got is a really good investment, because now all my colleagues and myself, now we have a broad system to continue making our imaginations to reality.
It can help students in creativity. It can help you in creativity, problem solving, and so much more. Because if we have not yet learned all of the other computers and all of that. So if we use these ones, it's gonna be helping you to know how the other ones work a little bit more.
Regarding the technology skills gap, only 34% of university graduates in Rwanda are women, while just 20% of tech entrepreneurs are female. Jean-Claude Tuyisenge, the head of New Generation Academy, notes that the lab aims to bridge the gap in robotics technology.
The technology was the sole subject to be taught at an advanced age. So we thought to start this with the young ones from the lower classes as much as we can. So we thought to close this gap. That's why government of Rwanda, in partnership with GIZ, they invested in this lab to help these students, to help teachers, not only from New Generation Academy, but from also neighboring schools, to have this facility and close the gap I mentioned.
Bluetooth connected. The permanent secretary in the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, Yves Iradukunda, states that investments in infrastructure promoting technology will help the country reach its long-term vision.
The difference with this lab we've set up here is that it has equipment that can train the students here, but also has equipment that can help produce tools that can help assemble new tools to be used. For instance, they will be able to produce pieces that can go into other robotics kits, which makes it possible for other schools to have access to robotics program. So the lab here will not only teach, but also design and produce both material, but also curriculum that can be embedded in our national curriculum, the competence-based curriculum. So that's what's really different here. We didn't just deliver the tools to use, but also to produce the parts that can be assembled into other tools.
Technology is expected to drive Rwanda towards its targets of becoming a middle-income country by 2035 and a high-income country by 2050.
The Rwanda Biomedical Center has received 2 mobile clinics and 20 medical-grade refrigerators donated by the Aga Khan University Hospital with funding support from the German government. This equipment will strengthen RBC's vaccination capabilities by enhancing both outreach and storage capacity. The mobile clinics will allow RBC to reach remote areas more effectively, while the refrigerators will ensure vaccines are safely stored, supporting Rwanda's commitment to broadening immunization coverage across the country.
The refrigerators we received are not significantly different from the ones we previously had. The primary difference is that they will increase the total quantity we have available. The real advantage lies with the mobile clinics. Although we had mobile clinics before, they were small in size. The new ones are larger and can provide services more comfortably. They are equipped with beds for patients. These mobile clinics will greatly assist us, especially during campaigns, as they can be used not only for vaccinations program, but also other services, such as screening for non-communicable diseases and offering family planning services to those in need on the field. Additionally, these clinics are designed to operate for longer periods in remote locations since they are equipped with solar panels for sufficient energy supply. They also contain water, sleeping quarters for staff, and a washroom for convenience. This makes them highly suited for field use rather than just hospital-based services.
Glad to still have you with us here on Rwanda Television News. Moving on to the stories that are making headlines on the international scale. Zimbabweans in the U.S. state of Texas have been speaking of the elections in that country and their expectations. The voters had mixed views, with some supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, some backing former President Donald Trump, and others choosing to stay neutral. VOA has the details.
Atmosphere is pretty much, that of elections, as you can feel it yourself.
I can see where we are standing right now. I'm seeing Republican signs. I'm seeing Democratic Party signs. I'm seeing all sorts of signs. What does this tell from a democracy point of view, considering you've seen how elections go by in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, you can see from the background that there's a plethora of, banners, some saying, for Democrats, some for Republicans. And you can also see individual names in there. You can also see, posters of judges who are also going to be elected in these elections. So it pretty much reflects, the multiplicity of choices that, Americans have coming into this election. And you can also see that unlike other countries where you'll see people vandalizing posters, these posters are well placed, and it seems like everyone is really happy to see them there, and it's a beautiful sight, so to say.
Lastly, I know we will talk again after the elections. Do you have a pick?
Well, I don't have a pick. In my country, you say people say honorarane butsu wakada kuita sema elections. But I mean, like at this time, I don't have a pick. But I feel that this election is more of a 50-50. You cannot really tell which side is going to win. With early voting coming in, the votes are pretty much seem to be neck and neck. So I would just stay neutral at this time.
My name is Innocent Nduruza. I'm here in Texas. I'm representing the youth out here. What I think about the election, I am sure that it's going to change your life. It's going to change my life. As an immigrant who is here, I'm sure it's going to change.
Have you been following these parties here when they were campaigning, the Democrats and the Republicans? And I've seen so many other signs in the stations out there.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people campaigning out there from different parties. I've seen the Democrats, they are in the streets campaigning, putting some posters and spreading their word. I am sure everyone is given an opportunity to campaign, so it's going to be a free and fair That's my opinion.
And then as a young man, there are things that you probably want to say, 1, 2, 3, I need to hear this from the next president. What would you want to say?
Well, from the coming president, the incoming president,
Yes.
I'm expecting to see a change in terms of economic. I need the businesses and to be revived. I need education, our education to be emancipated. I'm also looking forward to see the development in terms of infrastructure.
I feel like this is the most important election in America right now.
Why?
Because there's too much going on in America at the moment.
All right.
And what I stand for is a Zimbabwe. All right. I feel like with Biden and Harris, what they've been doing in the last 4 years is anti everything I believe in.
So, in other words, you are rooting for change.
Yeah, we need a change.
You have your pick already on who you want to come in?
Of course, because prices they've gone up. Like renting is up, food is up, business is bad in the last 4 years. Before that, I do trucking. I'm a trucker. Before Biden, we're doing very well, but after Biden, it went down.
So who do you want to see walk into the White House?
Trump.
I feel so excited to witness an election that is very free, fair, and transparent. I've never witnessed that before. Back from Africa, where I come from, we are used to elections that are violent, elections that are disputed, elections where the ruling parties, they take charge of election bodies, which is actually different from what I'm witnessing here. Everyone is given the platform to campaign freely, without intimidation. Everyone is given equal opportunity to campaign on television. Everyone is given equal opportunity to meet people. It's unlike where we have a situation in Africa where others are bad to campaign, others are bad to meet people, while these others are campaigning. So it's actually different. So I'm actually excited to see a free and fair and very transparent process.
Do you have a pick in this election?
Obviously, I have one.
Tell us more.
I go for Kamala Harris.
Why?
I like her policies.
Okay.
Her policies about immigration. Her policies about, when one wants to buy a house, she said she will give you 20,000. It's down payment. Her policies are pro-poor. Her policies are for the ordinary people.
Of the two candidates that we have, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, but I would say my candidate of choice is Donald Trump.
All right.
I know people will be coming for me, but
will they?
I will tell you my few reasons.
Why Trump?
Well, he does have his shortcomings. I mean, his character, we don't even have to go into detail. He is a lot of things, but when it comes to moving the country forward, like getting the country to regain its dominant status, he's my best bet.
Okay.
Not taking anything away from Kamala, I think she's good. I would actually want to see a female president in America, definitely, but in this instance or at this point in time, I would have to say Donald Trump.
It's really difficult because there's so much noise about it, and sometimes you don't really know what people or where people stand on certain issues. You just hear, the whole caricatures of what you see on TV, and then you're trying to think, hey man, how does this relate to me? I'm African at the end of the day. I haven't heard anything that really says anything about Africa. So in that regard, I'm not really too crazy about the pageantry of This one is up, this one is down.
That VOA story marks the end of our bulletin, and on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, we would like to thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. Stay safe and have a great night.